Fandom's log. Wednesday, the 22nd of March. This is the Trench Run with Ewen Patterson and Sam Glover. This is a segment where we try and summarize the news as quickly as possible. If you've seen the time code, spoiler alert, they failed at this miserably this episode. Go for it.
Okay, so welcome to Fandom's Log Trench Run, the other weekly genre show where we talk about what's going on in the world of comics, movies, and TV and games. And I'm your host for this one, Ewan Patterson, and with me today is Sam the Sound Lord Glover.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's jump into the Trench Run.
Boom.
There was a disturbance in the Force this week when we had the mother of all showdowns between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul.
Oh, yeah.
And the result has caused some fans to cry out in anger, others to rejoice, and some to go, eh? It has arrived. Mass Effect Andromeda can be yours if you want it. And why wouldn't you? With a story that is getting folks pumped, hopefully this will be a worthy addition to the legacy. We have a new Despicable Me 3 trailer, and it looks like Steve Carell's Gru is falling into bad habits with his long-lost brother, Drew. Creative naming there. Beauty and the Beast is on his way to making well over $200 million on its opening weekend worldwide. We've got a spoiler review for that, so look out for that on the channel. Speaking of musicals, Flash and Supergirl had its musical crossover this weekend, and it was delightful. While over on Arrow, Oliver looks to be in quite a pickle. I can't go any further than that. In other DC news, Batman is getting a rewrite. Aquaman has been pushed back, and either Suicide Squad 2 or a Green Lantern movie might be going into production this year. This one's going to hurt. Big Bang Theory is going to be renewed for another 2 seasons. And a prequel show about Sheldon has also been picked up for another 2 seasons.
That thing's already happened?
Yeah, and it seems these geeks will be around for a very long time. And finally this week, it is with a sad heart. Now, I tell my fellow panelists that the latest Power Rangers movie is being panned by the critics. And it's sitting at about 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whatever will they do?
Out of those 8 topics, Sam, what strikes you?
The first one is the DC. The DC universe's keystone has unfortunately gone to rehab for alcoholism.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense now why they've kind of been scrambling. I mean, I don't know how much of this is relevant. I mean, you can't. I mean,
I've got no. It must be tough.
It is. I mean, especially if you're in the public eye like that, like Ben Affleck. It can't be easy to admit you've had a problem.
Yeah. How long's he had it for? Do we know?
He said that he checked in the 90s, and then now he's checked in again recently.
Oh damn! So he's had alcoholism and he's had an alcohol problem, and then. Did Batman v Superman push him over the edge?
I don't know.
Because that kind of makes me feel bad.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the stress of having the Batman being the director, being Batman, and writing it led into that. With all that expectation, it's understandable. But we here at the Nerd Kingdom give our thoughts to Ben Affleck and hope he gets better.
And to anyone else who's got alcohol problem.
It's not an easy thing. I mean... But it does seem that DC are going back to Plan B now. So it seems they're taking things back a page, regrouping, and trying to sort things out. Which is a good step.
This is the perfect opportunity for them to kind of admit defeat and go, you know what our plans haven't worked. Let's start this right.
I think they're going to do a soft reboot. They're still going to have all the same people there. It's going to be
a creative reboot rather than a continuity reboot. Yeah,
because at this point, I don't want them to reboot completely. I don't want a hard reboot because I love Henry Cavill's Superman.
Yeah,
I love Ben Affleck's Batman. What I've seen of Wonder Woman, I'm liking.
I'm still pending.
Flash, I'm not so sure about, but. It's in early days, so let's give it a try.
The person they need to fire is David Goyer. Somehow he's somehow he's kind of floated around all these films and going, I'm going to write this one. Oh, it's bad. I was never on that project. Now it's time to write this one.
So it'll be interesting. We'll report on it as it comes out in the following weeks. The thing that's making me happy.
Go on.
Mass Effect Andromeda.
Go on.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. Oof. Did you watch the trailer, the launch trailer?
It slipped by me.
I put it on the notes, but it's just amazing. I'm really annoyed that I don't have a PS4 to play it on.
Yeah.
I mean, what will probably happen is in a couple of weeks' time or a month's time, I will get a PS4 and I will just be playing that game. I will not come out until I finish that game. I will be emotionally crippled probably by the end of it because I've got so much investment in this universe. Come out crying and then I go, okay, I'm going to put myself through that all over again. Because that's what I did with the first 3 games. So
that sounds fun. That does sound fun. Can I say, instead of talking about Power Rangers, because that's another one of these projects which I don't give a hell about, can I swap that for even nerdier news? Which is D&D Dungeons and Dragons have released an open beta for something called Dungeons and Dragons Beyond. Play with advantage. I like that. Any D&D nerds would like that. And it's basically the entirety of the D&D Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Monster Manual squished into a software that's been created by Curse, which I think is a Twitch enterprise. And they're building an online form of creating your D&D games, which is good. We have a database that's coming, which means you can build player characters, design monsters, build campaigns. This is awesome for anyone that plays tabletop D&D, and it's coming. Sign up so you can play with it, because at the moment it's in beta and all they've got is a massive database. So basically, if you've ever wanted to play D&D ever, you can start by signing up to this beta and reading everything that's in those £40 books for free. Do it whilst the beta's on. Use it, because it might. I'm guessing it's going to eventually be paid for. But probably. This is it's awesome.
The thing that I have to talk about it. People on the team know I really, really do not like Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. I'm kind of wearing a Big Bang t-shirt now.
I don't mind the first couple of seasons. I thought it was charmingly endearing. Mm-hmm. But then the joke ran out thin. It ran really thin very, very quickly. And
I like it because it's a form of culture that people wouldn't exactly appreciate. That culture are still watching. People still like that.
But that's not an accurate representation of us as a community. That's my problem. It's a bunch of people who haven't really got an understanding of what it's like in this community. Because we aren't socially awkward. I mean, that's the stereotype. But quite a lot of us are very active in our communities. We're not just nerds. And my problem is it's a lack of representation. If, for example, they made Raj gay, I'd be like, I'd be invested in the show again. If they had another female nerd on that show, a couple of female nerds.
They've got 2.
No, they've got Bernadette and Amy Farrah Fowler, who are scientists, but they're not nerds. Geeky. It's looked at as a bunch of white guys and pasty people that don't know how to interact with girls or anything like that.
Those people exist, though, and
they exist, but they're becoming less and less, and that is why the joke doesn't work. Quite a lot of the time, it's look at how funny these nerds are. Oh, they're so weird. Look at them reading their comic books. But it's the same as it's the same sort of form of representation we got from How I Met Your Mother with middle class city dwellers. And it's the same. You can't argue that that's a fair representation. No. Because no one in their right minds would live like Friends or be able to live like How I Met Your Mother. But you see, it's giving people a slice into that life. And I'd rather have people in Pasadena talking about superheroes than another New York City dweller sitcom. The thing is, though, quite a lot, like I said, the jokes about, look at them reading their nerdy stuff. Nerdy stuff is cool now. It has become something cool. So them talking about who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman, isn't a funny joke anymore. It's an actuality. And that is the what they are missing. I'm liking some of the stuff where they're doing. Oddly enough, the stuff they're doing with Howard and Bernadette are some of my favourite stuff on the show. Because
them raising a family and
because it shows actual character development. That stuff. But the stuff with like, I'm sorry, Sheldon as a character just doesn't work. Because at some point, he's got to let some of this stuff, this neuroses go. He's got to, and he does it every
You do realise that he's unannounced, but he's basically got autism.
Yeah.
That's so you can't, people on the, like, with autistic spectrum disorder can't let go. So in that sense,
but
that's an interesting representation of how
they learn to cope with it. The Leonard and Penny stuff is essentially been the same story for since the beginning. And I get the joke. Nothing ever changes. But at the end of the day, you're going to be on 11 seasons at the end of it. If you can point that the one character that you've had that has shown any development is Howard, of your 5 main characters from the beginning.
Raj,
all he's at... Raj only really has been able to talk, which is a big moment for the character. But that, at this point, happened like 5 seasons ago.
Yeah.
What else has he done?
Good
Stuart
point.
is the comic book shop owner. The joke that he's a sad axe and he doesn't get anything properly is funny for a little bit, and then it's mean-spirited.
There is a lot of, I've got to admit, some of the writing does feel like okay, pointing down at, but on the other side, it's also it's bringing more. It brings more people into the community. It makes people see that, and it introduces them to a culture they'll never seen before. And I know that's talking about season 1, and I like it because it makes me feel. It does make me feel relatable at times. I have moved on to sitcoms more like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've gone back to The Fresh Prince and it's nice to see. I think it's as a kind of cornerstone of the sitcom of the sitcom archive. I want that to continue because I want more nerdy things in representation.
But see, you're raising your point of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is funny because the situations they are in are just so outlandish. And it's about the characters. If you look at Peralta from like the first episode to Peralta now, he's changed, he's developed. That is my issue. As somebody that is creative, likes writing stories, likes telling stories, you do not have your characters develop and grow. You're just... I gave Big Bang Theory up until about season 7.
Yeah.
And if I watch something from those first seasons, I will enjoy it. And I will check in on it every so often. But I'm getting really annoyed with it now. And you can hear it. I'm just angry because they need to if you're wanting to have a nerdy sitcom, fine, go ahead. But make it more actually representative. Because I can tell you stories from my personal life that are hilarious and they're with my nerdy friends. Like...
I think the best example of what you're referring to is the IT crowd.
Yeah. But make it... So if I was writing a sitcom, make it about like 4 people. One nerdy guy that's kind of in between being a jock and not. Because... Let's face it, jocks are sports nerds.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. The double standards that you get in that world, where they come in and they get dressed up in all their favourite teams, but then at the same time, and they're looking at that's normal, but then you get somebody dressed up as Legolas from Lord of the Rings and he's looked as a weirdo. That is hilarious. That in itself is a funny concept.
Yeah, yeah.
So... But that isn't explored properly. It's the joke is always very formulaic. It's always, oh, look at how weird they are. Look at how awkward they are. They don't know how real people are. No, because if you're especially someone like Leonard, he's got all his neuroses and his problems, but he will learn to adapt to the world around him. It's the same with Howard. The joke with his mother, like I thought the way that they dealt with his mother dying, was really well done.
That was because the actual actress died.
Yeah, but that moment was genuinely heartfelt, and I felt so happy about. Like, if you told me that this is why Howard is one of my favorite characters on the show, because he's grown and developed from a creepy little weirdo to somebody now who's a bit odd, bit geeky, but he can raise a family.
Yeah.
And I identify with Howard as a character for a lot of reasons. The stuff with, like, his dad, that episode where they find the letter from his dad, I felt so emotional for it.
So there still are beats.
Still in it, but the problem is it's too far and in between.
We'll have to continue this another time.
So that's where I stand on that. I really, really quickly want to touch on Rebels, the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul.
Yeah, I saw this. It's just so much build up and then just done.
But it's like I'm a Star Wars mad person. I love it.
Why does that work then? Explain.
Because there's different forms of lightsaber fighting.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan is very much into Form 4, which is very defensive.
Yeah.
So that's when he's got like the classic Revenge of the Sith with his fingers pointed out and his hand like that. That is a defensive stance. But then he switches it and moves to Qui-Gon stance in Episode 1. So he tricks Darth Maul. So Maul then rushes him and starts to trying to hit him like he hit Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan dashes it and just cuts his lightsaber and right down the middle.
Ooh.
And then and the way that they explain it in the moment as well, when Obi-Wan is talking to Ezra, who's like one of the main characters, it is an old wound. And that's when you realise Darth Maul is a shadow of who he was in Phantom Menace and in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if these are two warriors and Darth Maul knows he's dying. He can see it, he can feel it. So he says, this is him essentially saying, if I'm going to die, I want to die at the hand of my greatest foe. And as he's dying, Obi-Wan is holding him in his arms.
Yeah.
And he's saying, is it the Chosen One? Have you found the Chosen One? Will he avenge us? And Obi-Wan's like, yes. And he's like, he will avenge us then. And then he dies. That moment, as a Star Wars fan who's watched all of this stuff, it felt so deserved. It felt like a perfect ending to the Darth Maul character.
Yeah.
And it held up who Obi-Wan was as a character, especially the Alec Guinness version. It didn't compromise it in any way, because imagine how odd that would look if the Alec Guinness version of Obi-Wan was jumping around doing flips.
Yeah.
It wouldn't look right. But the power that he held, that just showed his mastery of the Force.
So why do people not like that then?
Because it was too quick. It was literally three strokes, and I think part of the problem was the way they marketed it.
It was this big epic battle.
It was this big epic battle, and
it was more. It sounds like it's more like a cowboy showdown.
Yeah, more and more people I've seen are coming around to the idea that this is the perfect ending.
Mm.
And I was like a lot of them. I'm like, well, that's underwhelming.
Yeah,
but then the more you think about it, the more it works on so many more levels.
That's more of an artistic choice than a... Ooh, I like that.
And it didn't compromise who any of these characters were. And that's one of my favorite bits. But my other favorite moment at the end is as he's probably buried him off screen, but Obi-Wan is on his dew bag. And you hear the twin sons. And you hear Aunt Beru going, Luke, and it just cuts, and you see Luke's silhouette running across back into the house. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but it's just like Obi-Wan doing his like little chin thing, and I'm like, this is why I love Rebels.
Yeah.
Because it will give you moments like that, and then in the following episode, they're doing the season finale with Grand Admiral Thrawn. And if anybody who's a Star Wars fan knows that, they're going to be losing their mind, because Grand Admiral Thrawn is a character who can take down anybody by studying the art and culture of that world.
Oh.
So he looks at them and then he's able to figure out what their weaknesses are. So all this season, he's been learning about the rebels. He's been learning about their tactics and the way they work.
Yeah.
And then, but anytime that they've been in out of trouble, he's let them go.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to, he's just working up how to beat them. This is the moment when he finally just lays waste to them.
Maybe you're making me want to go actually watch this now, which is good.
And I love Rebels. So I think that's as far as I'm done for now. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Not really, no.
So,
it's been a very quiet news week.
Thank you for listening and me gushing about and getting angry about stuff. So that's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from everyone.
So, see you later and have a good fun week.
Bye.
Bye.
Well done. You got to the end of this episode. For this, it's The Trench Run with Ewen Patterson and Sam Glover. Made by both of them. Well done, you two. I hope you're proud. Yes. Now let's see the time. 20 minutes. To summarize 5 minutes worth of news. Why don't they just read a newspaper? Oh yeah, they wouldn't have this in a newspaper. I wish they talked about Robot Wars more. Now go away.